My name is Tori. This is Novel Life. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a brand new video where I'm going to tell you if these new releases are worth the read or not. So February and March had a ton of new releases, and I did have a reading vlog back in February where I read some of these new releases. So if you want my full thoughts on them, you can go check out that video, link it in the cards and the description box below. But I have about 8 or 9 books to share with you that recently came out in February or March, and I cannot wait to chat about them with you and tell you if they are worth the read or not. The first book I want to chat about is Wild Side by Elsie Silver. So I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars on my rating scale. This is the third book in the Rose Hill series, so I've read the other two and I really loved them. I will say that book 2 is my favorite in this series, hands down. I just personally related to the female character a lot more, but I think that if you love a marriage of convenience romance, this book is for you. So I would say yes if those are your tropes. Now for me, marriage of convenience is not always like my favorite, but I did enjoy the banter. I did enjoy the characters in this. I will say that wrestling, like, how do I say that's like WWE scripted wrestling, is a huge part of this. Our hero is a wrestler, you find that out, and I did like that. It's very nostalgic to me because I used to watch that when I was younger, so that's more of like a personal thing. But I would say that it is part of like the last half of the book once everything comes out, but this is like a different single parent romance than I've ever read before, and I really like that Elsie has taken like the single parent trope and kind of twisted it around for this book. I really enjoyed it. I loved the kid in this book. He was so adorable. He's 3 years old, so it's not like a big part of the book, but I did think that he brought a little bit of something to the book. So I would say if those are your buzzwords for tropes, then definitely check out this one. I do think it is worth the read. The audiobook is really good. I was able to listen to an early copy of the audiobook and I really enjoyed it. So yes, I would recommend this if those are your type of tropes. Another new release that kind of had people all in a tizzy back in February is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I'm matching the cover a little bit today with this blue teal shirt that I got on. Anyway, this is a forbidden swimmer team romance, if that makes sense. So our female character, she is a diver on the swim team for college, and our hero is actually like a competitive swimmer on the swim team. So they do like 2 different things on the swim team. But it's an interesting premise because you see at the beginning of the book, the hero is in a relationship with our heroine's friend on the swim team, and they break up because she's like, oh, you know, Lucas likes BDSM style stuff and she's not into it, and it's not fair to him, even though he's like, dude, I'm fine with it. Like, it's totally fine. I'm fine still being in a relationship with you. Like, they've been in a relationship for 4 or 5 years or something like that. And I find it interesting, like, that premise is a little weird to me. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I had the best time with it. If you love spicy romances, you're going to enjoy this. But if you are someone who doesn't read spicy romances often, this may not be the book for you. You may just want to skip this one, if that makes sense. But I had the best time with it. I thought it was a good time. It's not the spiciest thing I've ever read, but it's a spicier romance, if that makes sense. I don't know. It just, people were all up in a tizzy about like how spicy it was. And I was like, this isn't like the spiciest thing I've ever read. But I could see, coming from someone who doesn't read super spicy romances, this could be it. Like I said, it's a little bit forbidden. They kind of sneak around a little bit, but she's also healing from an injury, so that's part of it. I love Lucas. I thought he was a great hero. I loved him so much. The audiobook was also really good. I had an ALC from Libro FM, so if you can listen to the audiobook for this one, highly recommend doing that one. But yes, I would recommend if you like spicy romances. The next book I have is Summer in the City by Alex Astor. So this is Alex Astor's first contemporary romance. If I'm not mistaken, this comes out on the 25th. So right around the time this video goes up. I'm currently in the middle of this book. I'm almost halfway through, but I thought I would mention it because I know this video is going to go up around the same time as the release. And I kind of have a vibe of this book of like, if you like this, then you would definitely like this. So Alex Astor primarily writes fantasy. She has her Lightlark series, and while that series is not for me, this is definitely a rom-com-y. It definitely reminds me of, oh, what's the author? I'm trying to think of the writing style that it reminds me of, and it's not going to be for everyone. So, like, the banter in her head that she has with herself is kind of funny. It, like, kind of makes you laugh out loud. But I will say this is definitely on the rom-com-y side. It is a romance. They kind of fake date during the summer, even though she doesn't really like him. And there's this whole interesting aspect of like, she's this writer. She's staying in the apartment next to his for like renovations. And it's an interesting premise. Is it the most fleshed out book with like the plot and everything? No. But I do think that if you're going to go on a beach trip, if you're, going on spring break soon and you want to pick up a read that's relatively short, that's super fun, that's going to drag you in immediately, that's this book. I don't have a rating yet because I'm not completely finished with the book, but I have a feeling it's going to like be a 3.5 stars. So like 3.5 stars, I would recommend if you like rom-coms. And if that is your kind of thing and you like that kind of banter between the characters, but if that's not your thing, you probably won't like this one, if that makes sense. So it's more of like if you like the rom-coms, I would recommend. If you don't like rom-coms, I would say you can skip this one. But for me, as someone who didn't like Alex Astor's fantasy romances and that series, I would pick up another one of her contemporary romances, which is surprising because I was not a fan of the fantasy romances. But I would say if you like rom-coms and you want something fun for spring or summer, this is it. This is that book. Now, the next one I have to talk about was a 5-star read, and that was Beautiful Exile by Catherine Cowles. So this one just came out on the 18th of March. I read an early copy of this, and I love this. Arden is very, very different than pretty much any other heroine that Catherine has written before, and I love her. This, like, meet cute is not actually a meet cute, if that makes sense. She literally holds, like, a switchblade to his neck, because she's like, who the hell are you? Why are you in this gym? It's supposed to be closed. What is going on? Who are you? And Lincoln is the hockey team owner. So if you read Beautiful Exile, you know that the hero in that book is a hockey player. And now Link, who is the hero of this book, is the hockey team owner. He's a billionaire. He has lots of money. He's staying at Cope's house because he's building a house in Sparrow Falls for himself. And him and Arden kind of like get to know each other. Now, he has to break down Arden's walls because she definitely has them up for everyone. Even some of the Coulsons still. So I really enjoyed this book. It was a beautiful book. I think her being an artist heroine and being able to like express herself through her art is like so beautiful to read. So yeah, I really love this book. You can buy this at bookstores across North America, if I'm not mistaken. So highly recommend this one. I love the romantic suspense element. Of course, I did not guess who did it. I never guess, but I thought it was close. I was not. The next book I have to talk about is On Love Rose Lane by Samantha Young. So this is the first in her Return to Dublin Street series. So if you are a fan of On Dublin Street, that series that was published like 10 plus years ago, you would definitely like this. Now this is an enemies to lovers, once again neighbors romance. And it's not like, what's the word? It wasn't my favorite thing that I read. I love a good enemies to lovers, but it has to make sense. And they just have like some pent up frustrations from when they were younger and like who they were and stuff like that. What I did like is the mental health rep in this book. I also liked that she was a social media manager, that she had her own social media, like kind of PR company, but she would strictly work with brands and with people on their social media. And I don't really see a lot of that in books, and I really like this. So this is one I would definitely recommend if you kind of like all of those things. But if you like books that takes place in Scotland, this is also really cool. I love Samantha Young's books. They're atmospheric because I love to read about Scotland. And this also is a fake dating romance. So if you like the fake dating aspect too of them like being forced together for a reason, he does her a favor and then it turns around and he's doing her a favor type of a thing, I would definitely check out this one. But good start to the series. I can't wait to see what she does for the rest of the series. The next one I have is one of my all-time favorite books now, and that is Unloved by Peyton Corinne. I talked about this book a decent amount, so I'm going to keep it brief, but this is the second book in the Undone series by Peyton Corinne. Peyton Corinne has become one of my all-time favorite authors. I would read anything that woman writes. This is a friends to lovers romance. It's like kind of like a student tutor, like she's a tutor for the college, like she's a student there too, and so Ro takes on Freddie as a, like, I wouldn't say client, but it's like they, in the tutoring center, they like can switch around students and stuff like that. She gets assigned to Freddie, and they kind of have this really interesting, like, banter-y kind of start to a friendship. I love this because it really shows the friendship first, and then you see them falling in love. Now, they are two people pleasers, so this is emotional in the way that they're both trying to overcome this part of themselves that is trying to please people all the time at the detriment of themselves. And being friends with each other, they show each other that they don't have to be that. They're people pleasers characters in two different reasons and in two different ways. But let me tell you, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I was not expecting to love it as much because Unsteady is also one of my favorite books of all time. But this just really hit me. I'm like, if I was 17 and I read this book, it would literally change my life. I mean, like, I love it because I see a part of myself being 17, being a people pleaser, and being exactly how these characters were. And I love that they got their little HEA in this book. And I love them so much. I really wish that I could describe this in a better way, but I just think this is angsty and emotional if you love Friends to Lovers. And yes, it is a college romance, but it doesn't feel that way. It's a very heavy on the adult topics. Like, I promise you, like, they're in college, but I promise you, you're going to relate to them even if you're 30 like me. Like, I love this book so much. I want more people to read Peyton Corinne, so if you haven't already, definitely pick her up. She deserves all the hype, like literally deserves all the hype. The last two books I have to talk about are kind of like fantasy romances. The first book is A Rose Bargain by Sasha Peyton Smith. This is the Fairy Loot edition. I love this edition. This was sent to me by one of my patrons. She did not want this copy and she sent it my way. It is pink, it is gorgeous, it is beautiful. I will treasure it forever. But if you are someone who likes more of like the YA fantasy, this is for you. It is not spicy. There has a romance in it. Basically, our female character, she gets one bargain from the queen, and it's like a mix of like historical with fantasy, and the fantasy does not kick in until kind of the last 30%, if that makes sense. This book does end on a cliffhanger. I'm pretty sure it's a first in a duology. If not the duology, it's a first in a series. I just don't know how many books that's going to come after this. And I was surprised by that because I thought we would get like all of it kind of wrapped up by the end of the book. We definitely do not. We do not. This ends in a way that I was not expecting. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. While the beginning is a little slow, like I said, it definitely has the historical aspects because they're going to court. You know, she is, trying to play these games for the queen to kind of like fall in love with the prince and have like be married to the prince basically. And it's an interesting twist on historical court life, but it's definitely interesting on the other side of it with like the political and fantasy side. It's an interesting mix, and I feel like I'm not explaining it the best way, but it was a really enjoyable read. I did listen to the audiobook and I did really like the audiobook. So if you're a fan of audiobooks and you are an avid audiobook listener like I am, definitely check out this one. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it is YA, more like new adult. I say that in a way that there's like no spice. So just know that going into this one, but I would recommend if you like YA fantasy book. The last book I have is Heat of the Everflame. This chunker of a book, this 800-page book. This is the third book in the Kindred's Curse saga series. My God, that's such a long name. And I read this and it took me 4 whole days to read this, and I had the audiobook. And for me, that is a very long time. Very long time. I would say I struggle with this book because I ended up giving it 3 stars because I think it is way too long. The first and second books in the series were so amazing. I gave the first book 4 stars, the second book 5 stars, and I feel like this book was way too long. This is like almost double the amount, like the length of the second book. Like, it is way too long for what happens in this book. Like, yes, I understand what she was doing and the development of Diem's character, but for me, like, I feel so bad because I love the first 2 books in the series, but I struggle really hard recommending this series because I didn't like this book as much as I really wanted to. Now, my opinion might change when Burn of the Everflame comes out in 2026, but right now I would say this is not worth the read. Like, read it on your own time. We have until 2026 to read this book, okay? Because the next book's not coming out until then. So, like, you have over a year, okay? Like, you have plenty of time. Do not rush to read this book because it was just way too long. I wish I would have like spread it out but then again, I feel like I would just put it down and never picked it back up again. I don't know. It was just a struggle. I read this in a recent reading blog where I was catching up on series, so you could get all of my unfiltered thoughts and my journey struggling through this book, but I would say this is not worth a read right now. And I hate that I say that because literally Glow of the Everflame was one of my favorite books of last year, but I just struggled with this book. So I'm hoping that Burn of the Everflame is so much better, and this is just the fluke in the series, and it all wraps up in the 4th book and everything's perfect and amazing. That's what I'm hoping for. But until then, I would say skip this one for a little while. You got time. Those are all the books that I have to talk about in today's video. You can let me know any new releases that you've read recently that you would recommend or you would not recommend. drop it in the comments down below. If you made it this far and you want to let me know, leave me a pink flower emoji in the comments down below, because it is spring now and it is hot outside, and hopefully the flowers in my yard starts blooming soon. So leave me a flower, a pink flower, in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content for me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.